Well, you're still watching Sunrise at Sea, and the conversation in regard to the burial arrangements of the fallen speaker, that is the late Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, that is Jacob Oulanyah, continues this morning. And joining me to discuss and also to look into matters arising, of course, in regard to burial arrangements include that the minister, that is Millie Babalanda, did highlight and came up with a budget together with the committee in regard to how much money will be allocated and also sent to the Acholi leader. It is, of course, to cater to make sure that even when mourners and friends and colleagues gather at his home district, that is Omoro district, to finally pay their last respects and officially and you know, bid him farewell as he continues his journey. May his soul rest in eternal peace. And that is what we are going to be discussing today. And of course, highlighting key other issues around burial arrangements is none other than Honorable Anthony Acholi, and he is the chairperson, the Acholi Parliamentary Group chairperson. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Okay.
Let me greet the viewers.
Absolutely.
And thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so first things first, and my first query or question to you would be, of course, in regard to what I highlighted in my preamble, in regard to the money that was supposed to be set aside and sent to the Acholi leaders, of course, in preparation to make sure that the arrangements go in smoothly. But also Acholi leaders have also come out and said that government needs to send this money at least before close of midday so that they are able to ascertain and make sure that things are put into place. So has this money been received?
The issue is not about money sent to Acholi leaders.
Okay.
Members of Parliament are not accounting officers. There has been a mistake.
Okay.
Last week when media said money allocated to members of Parliament from Acholi sub-region. The issue was that the budget was submitted by Acholi leaders because we know the local content. And that was in consultation with the local government of Omoro, with the religious leaders, with the cultural leaders. And all in all, that budget was talking about the road that is supposed to be done around the funeral home where the burial is going to take place. It was about the Council 5 regional council meeting to pay their last respect, and that brings together the Council 5 of Lango sub-region, Acholi sub-region, and West Nile. It was about 50 million Uganda shillings to be given to the parent of the late Jacob Oulanyah, Mzee Nathan Okori, and that money is to take care of mourners after the burial has taken place. People will keep coming in the home. It was about how you can prepare the compound and how you are going to light the area so that if it is night, things can be, you know, visibly seen. But the issue is not about the budget that should be sent to Acholi leaders.
Okay.
The issue is about, number one, the budget approved by the government, especially the Parliament of Uganda, which has the obligation and under the Constitution, it is a right of Parliament to approve the budget. It was approved 1.8 billion. But from nowhere, you don't know who has cancelled the budget to 1.2 billion without any knowledge of what should be done. But about that, leave alone that, even the 1.2 billion that is left as a budget, they have actually allocated money to non-priority areas. A case in point is that you find, for example, they are talking about VIP fuel and accommodation. You are talking about the Speaker of Parliament in Uganda. You are talking about Speaker of East Africa. When such kind of people, VVIP people, come to a country or they go up country, you don't need the fuel from the National Organizing Committee for the Speaker of Uganda, for the Speaker of East Africa to go for a funeral. And then you're talking about they are hiring tent for about 2 days in Kololo. The prayer in Kololo is one day. And you're talking about 60 million to be paid for hiring 10 for 2 days. What is the second day? What are you doing in Kololo when people have left the first day? So a lot of things are not done right. For example, we brought in the bola dancers from Thursday last week up to today. They are in Kampala. No money has been released to take care of them. They are supposed to be accommodated. They are supposed to eat. And this is something that is so irritating, which is happening. And the Right Honorable Speaker died on the 20th of last month. You wonder When do you need to work on the budget? Up to now, the National Organizing Committee has never released money for activities, and it is Parliament trying to run here and there to shut out things. This is something which is not right at all. The burial ground is not cleared, and where the helicopter is supposed to land with the body is not cleared. So that is the kind of thing we are irritating, and we are saying, if government cannot take care of what they call the state burial, why do you then accord him the state burial when things are not organized? So when we are mourning, when people are really, hurt for the death of their dear one, at the same time, you're adding salt into the wound. And that is a problem we are facing, especially like leaders from Acholi sub-region, leaders from Lao, leaders from West Nile. You are having a lot of confusion. A call is here and there. Things are not moving. But now the program they're talking about, on Friday we are burying him. So that is where the problem is. And that is what we were saying, that if government cannot act, then they should now either postpone or we appeal to Ugandans. Because there is nothing that has united Ugandans than this death of the Right Honorable Speaker. Ugandans are speaking the same language, whatever angle they are from. From yesterday, when we finished the press conference after now, members are calling me, they're sending messages. They just want us to provide just the telephone number, mobile money number that you want us to send money to. Okay. And we have said no. We don't want to disorganize government until they have failed to act. Then and we are waiting for midday.
Okay.
That's all.
So I do understand where you're coming from, and earlier on, even as you were speaking your sentiment, you seem to feel that the organizing committee or members of parliament or parliament at large are not properly allocating money where it ought to, because you mentioned a tent set up at Kololo, and you're asking, I mean, it's only one day unless people are planning to spend a night. So what do you think actually they should have done?
Well, when you're burying, and especially you are talking about number 3 in the country.
Yes.
Why do you dilly-dallying around here and there? The most difficult thing that we have never gotten the answer. Even the National Organizing Committee, whereby the president has actually delegated the Minister for Presidency, there is no single day she has come even to share the meeting. She is delegating the meeting to be shared by the minister in charge of the environment, Minister of State for Environment. What is the relationship? And actually, delegated authority cannot be delegated. If the president has delegated the Minister for Presidency to make sure that she is the chairperson to handle the National Organizing Committee for the burial of the Right Honorable Speaker, again, you delegate it to another ministry. Because there is no linkage between Minister of Presidency and then the Minister of State for Environment. And that's why we were saying yesterday that from yesterday, we don't want even her to come to share the meeting. That's why things are not moving. And then who sits somewhere and you begin to reduce the budget, which has been approved by Parliament? Who is that person? And by the way, we were saying yesterday, if you try to joke with money for the dead people, you will suffer, because all of us were going to die. And you see there is a lot of planning for corruption and all that. I want to put for you a simple case. Like there is a budget for mobile toilets to be in Muyenga, where the home of the late speaker is. It talks about mobile toilet, about 15 million for mobile toilet. When you go at the home there, you will see only 2 mobile toilets, which they are actually packed in a lorry, not even installed in the compound. They are talking about executive chairs at home there in Muyenga, and they are talking about for 750 people. But when you go there, you don't see the executive chairs, you don't see any chairs. The only executive chairs you can see at home there, it is what has been removed from the home, the house of the speaker, and brought outside. So things are not done well. Even feeding is a problem. Sometimes the number of people at home there are not fed. Even when you go to Omoro, where I was on Sunday, people are suffering. The Mosee is actually using his own animals. He's killing the bulls. to take care of the visitors who are coming at home there. So that is where the problem is. And we are saying there is somebody who is not doing things right. We have to make sure that we give respect. We are spending for the last time. The Right Honorable Speaker is not coming back in life. He has done a lot for this country. If what we are talking about him, the good things we are talking, is actually from our heart, we need to show it in the way we are going to escort him, the way we are going to send him off. It should be a decent burial. And that's where our concern is.
Absolutely.
As leaders from northern Uganda and leaders of Uganda.
At large.
And the issue is, if they fail, we are getting calls. And people are ready to contribute. Because you just need about 500,000 Ugandans. 500,000 Ugandans, they will raise the 2.5 billion they were talking about, which money they are not allocated. They said Parliament approved 1.8, but now somebody sat somewhere and reduces to 1.2 and also not looking into priority. Just trying to see maybe if you give this money to A+, then you'll be able to get the kickback here and there. And that's what they're planning, which is wrong.
Okay, now looking at the ultimatum that Acholi leaders have put forth, of course, still in regard to the barrier arrangements, the ultimatum stands at midday. So would you say, or some people have come out even on Twitter to say that this could be, this is too harsh, looking at the fact that the barrier is on Friday, isn't today midday too soon, or what are your thoughts on it?
You see, what you need at the burial place, there are things that should not wait for Friday. There are things that should not wait for Tuesday to be done. For example, if we are talking about clearing roads, because people are coming from different directions.
Yes.
And there are 4 different roads that should be cleared towards home. It is not right for you to wait on Friday, then you start clearing the road. And tomorrow, local government, they don't have fuel now. The equipment from the Ministry of Works is just parked there. There is no fuel for activities to go on. Clearing the ground where people are going to gather, the large number of people, we are talking about 25,000 people who are going to be on the ground there. You don't need to wait until it is Friday, then you start clearing the ground. That is not right at all. So nobody can say that it is harsh. I mean, government have the capacity. If government cannot do it, Ugandans can do it for the love they have for the speaker. And that's what we are talking about. So
if the government is not able to pull its weight or is not able to meet your ultimatum, what is plan B?
What we are doing, we are registering the telephone number. We are negotiating with the companies, the MTN, the Airtel, so that there is no limit on those lines, and we'll give the lines to Ugandans, wherever they are. If somebody can give 5,000, somebody can give 1,000, they will send it. And we will realize the money and we'll bury the speaker. But this is going to be a bad precedent for the country, because number 3 in the country is not a simple position. And government cannot sit and wait. That's why we said yesterday that if the National Organizing Committee is not acting, even President Museveni has been donating money in this country. What is wrong with President to come up and say, I'm donating this money the way he has been splashing it around to make sure we give a decent burial? You know, the family is already aggrieved. The pain is already there. Ugandans are already having a pain for the death of the speaker. And then adding salt into the wound. That's where the problem is coming from. Yes.
So looking at the money that was asked by leaders, of course, from Amoro, solicit money about 300, 200 in regard to that, towards, of course, contribution of the barrier arrangements, how far has that gone?
The budget, which was for the local content,
yes,
that's how we call it, the local content. That is where the leaders from Acholi Parliamentary group were asked to coordinate. All that budget has been cancelled. There is no budget for 50 million that is supposed to help the mosque for taking care of the visitors after the burial. It has been cut off. There is no budget now for the local council, the regional local council meeting, which is supposed to take place on Thursday. It has been cancelled completely. There is no budget for mobilization of the local leaders. It has been cancelled completely. And even the money that was set aside to make sure the compound is cleared and all that, just about 3 million Uganda shilling, it has been cut off. That's why we are saying somebody is not doing things right.
Okay.
Somebody is not doing things right.
So
and that's a problem.
You said you were in Omoro district on Sunday, and that is just yesterday. Paint for us a picture. What is the mood like there?
I had two ministers. Minister for Northern Uganda, Honorable Kuyichin,
Yes.
and the Minister of State for Tourism.
Okay.
As a national organizing committee, they went on the ground. It was a rough time for them. Actually, at one point, people almost wanted to beat them. You know, people who are grieved, they are in pain, and then they are seated there. Things which are supposed to be done right is not being done. And there is no explanation. It is not easy at all. And that's why we are also hard. You know, sometimes you get the pressure on the ground, and that's why you can say, no, something has to be done. Yesterday we had to say the meeting should be closed. They are talking about the meeting to adjust the budget to 1.2 million. And they already done the adjustment. For example, the whole protocol, the whole committee of protocol has been given Uganda shilling 200,000. What are you talking about? I mean, there is nothing serious at all. And that's what we are saying. Things have to be done right.
Okay.
So that we send the Right Honorable Speaker in a decent center, at least.
Okay.
You know.
So in regard to the funeral rites that are to be performed not just on Tuesday but throughout Wednesday and up to Friday, has the Acholi Parliamentary Group been consulted in regard to what they think, to what you think should be done during these services?
What we did as Acholi Parliamentary Group, as Lango Parliamentary Group, as West Nile Parliamentary Group, we sat in a meeting. Immediately when the Speaker died on Sunday, on Monday we sat in a meeting, and we made sure that our committee, our members are in all the committees.
Yes.
And that's how we realized there's a problem. Because what has been planned, how things should be done, is not being followed. That's where the problem is coming from. Because if what has been planned for the burial was exactly what is taking place, we will be okay. Even the 1.2 billion, if it was properly allocated, there will be no problem. I'm giving you a simple example. In Kololo, there is supposed to be 1,500 people. That's what is in the budget. But now when we went yesterday, in the list, they're talking about 5,000 people. I mean, the invited people to be in Kololo is 1,500, but somebody is adding his or her own money to talk about 5,000 people. Then you start looking at feeding for 5,000 instead of 1,500. You really see a lot of things which are not adding up. They are not adding up at all.
Interesting. So as we wrap up the conversation, as the body of the Speaker is brought to Parliament, of course, tomorrow, what are the arrangements like?
In Parliament, we are going to welcome the Speaker in a special way. The members of Parliament and the staff of Parliament will line up as the body comes to Parliament. That is his home. And we will line up and receive the body. Of course, we still have the bola dancers around. Much as I said, they are suffering. They have gone up to even sharing rooms now because money is not there. But they are there for their own, and they are going to be there. So they will be escorted by the bola dancers, and of course, the funeral being a state burial, still the police and all those people, the official people are going to be the normal way. We are not interfering with it. But at Parliament, after we finish giving the respect, we are going to sing throughout the night. Members of Parliament are going to spend the night together with the Speaker. We are not going to leave the body to be alone in Parliament. So there is plan to make sure we will have after the official, paying respect to him, there will be prayer throughout the night until morning, and that is how the plan is. And then in the morning, that is when the body will be brought to Kololo. That is on Wednesday, and that's a program in Parliament generally. I think it is going to be the Vice President who will move the motion, and the seconder is going to be the Prime Minister and then the Leader of Opposition for the motion to pay respect to the fallen Speaker.
Okay.
That is so far how the planning is, and we're going to give enough time for members to talk about him.
Yes.
And we really request the Ugandans to be united at this time.
Very important.
Right Honorable Speaker was a person who liked unity in the country. We will remember him. At times, Parliament is not easy. Sometimes the debate will go Western Uganda, Central, or Northern Uganda, Eastern, and then when he listens to people quietly, you will hear him saying, honorable members, the boundary that divides us, the rivers that divide us, the parties, the tribe, they are not thicker than the blood that unites us.
Okay.
And that's the kind of unity we want this time. And that's why I think you saw it on media, how even when people talk a lot of things later on, especially you remember the Chief Justice went to the category of Buganda. I mean, that's a humility in Acholi people, the Luo people. And I think something that people should copy from there, to make sure that where you think you've hurt somebody, you go and sit down and talk. The reconciliation process. And that is a Luo culture. The Matoput, and that is a unity we want. And people should copy from there. And as a country, we have different cultures in the country, the Banyankore, the Baganda. All these cultures have something you can pick from, which can help to unite the country.
Okay. And
we have been telling the people of Uganda that we need to unite at this time. And apart from unity, we should make sure that this particular death of the speaker should make sure that we unite and build this country, so that next time when we are handling this country to the younger generation, it should be a united country, a better country than where we've gotten it. And that is a role we are left with as a country, which the Right Honourable Speaker was trying to do it. I will put for you a simple example. The northern Uganda has gone through a lot of conflict. At one point, the Idi Amin was killing the Langi and the Acholi. At another point, when Idi Amin was overthrown, then the Acholi and Langi and other people in the country united, and there was a lot of violence on the West Nile people.
Yes.
At one point, when Obote was in power, there was a problem between Obote and Acholi people. And then when Acholi took over from Obote, there was a problem. Acholi is killing the Langi. But the speaker, when he became the leader, he was uniting the sub-region. To the extent that when we went to meet the president as leaders from West Nile, Acholi and Lango, he was surprised. He didn't think this can happen. But that is what the speaker was doing. And we need to emulate from there and move the country to a better situation for a young generation that is going to come.
Absolutely. And even while you're highlighting the factor, looking at the young generation, of course, we remember the legacy that the late Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, that is Jacob Oulanyah, may his soul rest in eternal peace, the fact that he was supporting and sponsoring children that were in school, including the fact that he sponsored a number of them that were going to Serema Christian High School, but also looking at the fact that the Jacob Oulanyah Education Foundation that was proposed by the Chief Justice, that is Alfonso Winyidolo, and which is to basically support and make sure that children stay in school. What are your sentiments or thoughts towards this proposal?
You know, we borrowed the leaf from the late Mayombo.
Oh, yes.
When Mayombo died, an education fund was created for his children. To the extent that the money became big, the children finished studies, and it started now helping other people. And then we said, at this point when we are talking about, you know, the death of the speaker, what happens most of the time, when people have the pain right now, people will say we will help the children, we will help the relatives, we will help the children they were sponsoring school. But finally, 2 months, 3 months down the road, people will forget. And they will no longer talk about the person who is dead, by the way. Life will continue normally, but the children will be suffering. Those he was sponsoring, those of his own, and some of them are these for the relatives, the sisters and the brother, because he has 2 sisters and 1 brother who are alive, and the children are also with him. So that's why in a meeting that we organized at the home of the Chief Justice, it was agreed that we should create Jacob Oulanyah Education Trust Fund. And this trust fund will help to make sure the children will go to school. Those he was sponsoring, his own, and some of them the relatives' children that he was supporting. And I am happy that Ugandans are responding well. But key on it, the caliber and the integrity of people who are going to take care of the Education Trust Fund. It is going to be headed by the Chief Justice, and the finance person is going to be the Speaker, the elected Speaker, Right Honourable Anita Mong. And that kind of, you know, caliber of people and the integrity of the people, I think I request Ugandans, at the right time, even now. When the account is given to people, the mobile number is given to people of Uganda, send whatever money you have. And this fund can be bigger, and next time it can help to fund the vulnerable children in Uganda, wherever they come from.
Yes.
And this is the kind of thing that, you know, the humility that we need in people. And we have to borrow from the life of Right Honorable Jacob Oulanyah, that when you are still alive in this world, I mean, you have to give a helping hand. Because you are not here in this world for yourself only. You have to think about other children who are vulnerable in the country. And that is what he was doing.
Absolutely.
And that matters a lot in our life. Sometimes people are so greedy that they think about themselves and their family. They don't even think about the relatives' children. They don't think about who is sleeping hungry out there, who is getting out of school because the parent is dead. And that is something we all have to learn from, to give a helping hand to the vulnerable people in the country. That is very important.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up the conversation, Honorable, do you have any last remarks? Of course, do you have anything that you would want to say to the National Organizing Committee that is in charge of the fallen speakers' barrier arrangements? But also, are there any last remarks or last respects that you would like to put across today?
Key number one is people should learn from the life of Jacob. When you are given a responsibility, you must perform the responsibility perfectly. I mean, if you learn from his life, time management, what and everything, and to the task that is given to the National Organizing Committee, my request is simple. Do the right thing. Make sure we give the befitting burial to our fallen speaker. To the rest of the Ugandans, we need to unite at this point, and we need to learn from this death of the speaker that we are here temporary. You can hate your friend, you can begin to think about this is a Muganda, this is a Nyankore, this is an Acholi, but we are all going away. This world is not for us. You can remember how these people were, you know, campaign was tough, but it's no longer there. So when you are doing things in this world, you must know that we are not permanent in this world. So do it with humility.
Absolutely.
And that is something we need to learn from the light of the Right Honorable Jacob. And as I said, let us unite the country. Let us leave the country better than we have found it to the younger generation. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us this morning. And also, I did notice that today you're putting on a purple bow tie, which actually reminds me of the signature look of the fallen speaker. And of course, in that regard, MPs had said they would actually continuously wear bow ties as a sign of respect for an entire month.
We thought we will do it for only this period, but somehow we are getting used to it. we might end up now, bow tie becomes part of our dress code. But the matter of fact, it doesn't fit us. He was the person who can fit in it better.
He was the best person to look good, and he pulled off the look.
That is true.
Well, thank you so much, Honorable, for giving us an insight. And at the end of the day, what stands out is what kind of legacy are you leaving behind, but also to give you pointers or what not to forget. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday, the 5th of April, 2022, at exactly 9 a.m., the body of the fallen speaker will be moved to Parliament of Uganda, where the Right Honorable Speaker will lead members of Parliament to pay their final respects, and that is the Right Honorable Anita Mong. And then on Wednesday, 6th April 2022, 9 a.m., the body will be taken to Kololo ceremonial grounds for our state funeral. And finally, on Friday, the body will be at Omoro district in his hometown and home, where respects will be paid and a state funeral will be had. So we hope at the end of the day that, you know, different tasks are achieved, and that the National Organizing Committee are able to follow up and follow through as to their commitment. Otherwise, that winds up the conversation that we had for you this morning on Sunrise at Sea. Those were the Twitter jabs. Good morning and don't blink.